gotta be out of my hands. You know that it's up. I took a flight to Japan, I may never travel again, but tell them I took the stairs to the top, now they tryna see if I drop, but we going I had to silence the doubts, and that's what it's been all about. Now we going yeah. Started with crumbs in the cold house, now I get love when I roll out. Pressure made gold from the fold out, now the wins come clean on holdouts.
The head coach of guys like Tim Couch, one of my favorites, Jared Lorenzen. Just a phenomenal coach and somebody who's really put their print on the game of football. So I'm so blessed to be here with Coach Mumme. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm good. Thanks, Rick, for those kind words. And I don't know if maybe I am the architect. A lot of people say I invented it, and I can't take credit for that because we blatantly stole everything from BYU, Bill Walsh, and a whole bunch of other great coaches that were older than me. But we did put it together, and Mike Leach and I, and at Iowa Wesleyan College, and then Valdosta State, and then like you mentioned at UK.
Coach, you've had some phenomenal players in the past, and now you're taking on a brand new venture in the IFA. Coach, tell me a little bit about this league. What should people know about it? What should people get excited about? What drew you to becoming a coach in this league?
Well, I've done some of these spring and summer football before pro football, and I enjoy it because the players you deal with have no egos. They just want a chance at the NFL. And a lot of them, on our roster have had NFL chances already, and they're ready to want to go back. So you don't have to deal with a lot of egos. They're pros. They're all around 25 years old, and they just want that one more opportunity. I had a great experience in the spring league, which eventually became the USFL. But we won the championship in that in 21. And since then, I've been working on this league, getting it together, and it's been about 2.5 to 3 years that we've been Jason Adams, the league owner, and I have been working on this with several others. And so this May 31st, we're going to kick off 6 franchises, and we'll have global television, national TV. We're on in New Zealand and Australia and Europe and all sorts of places, and about 75 million broadcast TV sets in America through Right Now Sports, and then you can stream it anywhere on Lights Out Sports, which is Sean Merriman's network. So it's everybody will get to look at them. They'll get a lot of eyeballs on them, and this league's needed. These guys that we end up getting, a lot of them have been forced to play arena ball, and arena ball is a fun game to watch, but it has absolutely no carryover value to the NFL, and so. We're going to play NFL rules. We've got an NFL official who's going to head up our officiating. And they'll get 8 good games between May 31st and July 26th. And the top 4 teams will play for 2 more weeks for a championship. So they could get 10 games. But it'll be good film. It'll be right at the perfect time because the NFL camps will still be going on.
Coach, it's been really, and you mentioned this just now, it sounds like you've always had a heart for putting guys in the league, and you have done that. One guy, Tim Couch getting drafted first overall in the league, being a part of your system, but you've put a lot of guys in the league. I just mentioned a few, Dominique Ross, Anthony Witt, Derek Homer, just a few guys that you put into the league over some time. And the way you've gone about doing that, Coach, just by them being a party, and those were just running backs, and I mentioned them because we're supposed to have Justin on.
Yeah, Justin's going to be on, isn't he? That's good.
Yeah.
No, we've got the Caballeros this summer. We got a great stable of running backs, and I think 3 of them have NFL experience already. Our roster, we got about 70 guys on the roster right now, and I think I counted. There's 14 ex-NFL players and 4 more CFL players. So it's pretty talented group, and should be fun to watch. We got a lot of great receivers. We got some quarterbacks, 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are really good, and they're going to compete, see who gets to start. Will Arndt is the oldest one, and he started games in the CFL for a couple of seasons. So he's a really experienced guy and should be good at distributing the ball. There's several others though, but there'll be a competition in training camp.
Coach, your quarterbacks, and you mentioned this before. I've heard you talk about the air raid system, and whenever you talk about it, you've mentioned that whenever you have a quarterback, you need a guy who, for one, has a passion for the game, for sure, but also has that ability to see the whole field. Do you believe that the current quarterbacks on your roster, do they have that unique ability to see the whole field?
Yeah, I think they do. I know Nate Hayden I've coached already, so I know he does, and I've seen a lot of film on Will Arndt and Jeremy Scott, and Jeremy's come to a OTA for us, and I thought he did a nice job while he was there in Pascal. So I think they do, and it'll just be who's kind of got the hot hand for about 10 days in camp.
Coach, talk to me about, and you mentioned this about your roster. You say you have about 70 guys right now,
Yeah.
and you've been putting this together for about 2 years, the league and the team. So talk to me about this particular roster and this team that you're putting together. How did you go about doing it? I know that you've had tryouts. So I've seen some of the video of the tryouts, and you look like you have some great athletes, and I saw that, Coach, so I can see that coming. So you had the tryouts, and now we'll talk a little bit about the draft. But, Coach, outside of the tryouts and the draft, were there some other ways, some scouting you've been doing to put together this roster?
Well, on offense, we certainly put a premium on getting air raid guys, and there's 3 or 4. Trey Mentor, a running back, who was with us in the spring league, several others that have played in our offense. And so we kind of put a premium on that. And then, like you said, we had tryouts numerous places over the last 2 years and gathered a few names from those. And then the rest of it has just been myself and Stan Bedwell and John Peterson, our personnel guys, doing their own scouting and doing our own homework and finding guys that would fit our system.
Coach, you just went into the draft, and in this draft, you pulled out a few guys. You started off in the first round with Larry Williams. Actually, and I think in the first 3 picks, you picked 2 linemen. Two linemen, right?
Well, it was a position-specific needs, and
okay,
we needed more offensive linemen in camp, so we put a premium on those guys, and then we also picked up a running back and a wide receiver.
You did, and Shannon Brooks. Talk to me about Larry Williams. Talk to me about Ryan Atkins, who you pulled in the draft. Those 2 linemen.
Well, they have the dimensions and the arm wingspan to be great pass protectors, and they've been in good programs, played well, and they've demonstrated that we have a great line coach, great 2 line coaches, Tracy Welch and Ronnie Van Clark. But Ronnie's had a lot of experience in the NFL, and he likes those guys, and so I like them too.
Cool. Thank you. Coach, talk to me about Shannon Brooks, the running back you pulled in the second round. When you look at the skills that he has, and we can even talk about Justin a little bit, right? Because I saw Justin, and you mentioned this, that so many of these guys have had to play indoor football or arena league football. And Justin, in those arena league games, he looked absolutely phenomenal. As quick as a hiccup, he's blazing fast. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, which is really, really key in your air raid system. Talk to me about Justin. Talk to me about Shannon Brooks.
Well, I think both of them can do the stuff you just described, and they're just wanting to do it on a bigger field and play with 11 guys, So I think both of them it'll be an interesting training camp right there. Our backfield coach, Vic Stagliano, is going to have his work cut out for him, trying to figure out who the best guys are, because they all have skills, and we've got some really big guys, we've got some really small guys, and it's a good mix. And so we'll just figure out what the best roster numbers are. I
love it, Coach. As you are getting ready for the season, you said this a few times about wanting to get guys in the league, and you've kind of set up the rules so that guys can easily translate into the league. You set up the timing so guys can easily translate into the league. What are some other things that you all are doing to make sure that the final goal of getting these guys into a league or into a professional league is accomplished?
Well, I think the timing of the games is really key, because we'll kick off, and then about a month or so later, the NFL will start their camps. And so they'll have a chance to watch our guys simultaneously as they're as they're going through camp. If they have some injuries or guys aren't working out, they need a player. We'll have battle-ready guys that have already played some games that they can call on. And then the other thing we've done in this league is our contracts are only binding for our league, so they can leave at any time as long as they. Our goal is to move them up. We look at ourselves as like being AA baseball,
Okay.
So the rule is to move up. So they can go to the CFL or they go to the NFL. That's great, and we'll let them do it.
I love it. Coach, as these guys are moving up and as, spring is coming up, who are some guys that we just have to know their names heading into this year? I know you mentioned some already, but you've looked across the league already, I'm pretty sure, because you're that type of coach. So I know your team, and you've seen other teams that they're building as well. Who are some guys that people just have to know that's going to bring people to the television sets or to their phones so they can watch these games?
Well, on defense, I think you got to look at Jeffrey Jeckham, who's a safety. He played at West Point, where he was a wide receiver. And being a wide receiver at West Point, you don't get to catch many balls. Mostly you just block. And so when he got some tryouts at some NFL camps, one of the NFL coaches told him, look, you're really a safety. And so he's converted over. And what he just needs is some reps. He needs some game reps. He came close to making a couple of NFL teams, but he just didn't have the experience yet. So I would look at him. He's a big guy. He can run. He's really smart. He served his country. He's a really great guy. And I'm really excited about Jeffrey. On the offensive side, I think, the air raid's known for, we always have these little slot guys that, Wes Welker kind of guys.
Yeah.
And we've got two of them coming in that are really, I think, going to be fun to watch. One of them has the incredible name of Boogie Knight. And he's from Louisiana Monroe, and he's really got some skills. And then the other one is Isaiah Thomas, who was a Kansas State receiver, played over in Europe with one of our quarterbacks, and he is not very big, but he is really fast, and he can run 4.3 in every direction.
Coach, I love these names, and I love that they're marketable.
Yeah.
You got Isaiah Thomas and Boogie Knight.
Oh,
Coach, you ready to rock?
No, you can't beat that, can you?
You can't. Not at all, Coach. Coach, you've had some great experience over the years. You've been to multiple places. One of my favorite just stops in your journey is Southeastern Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana. I've seen Southeastern for a long time. I know they didn't have a football program when I was playing, actually. And then you go in and you help to start off that program. And I selfishly wanted to ask you a little bit about that.
Sure.
Just because you're doing it again here. You're coming into a place that hadn't had football before or something that hadn't existed. And you're taking something from idea to realization. Talk to me about that and how doing that, having that experience helps you now.
Well, it certainly does, because until you've started a program, you don't really have an appreciation for how much work it is. And, most programs, particularly in college or in the NFL, that, the coach gets fired and the other guy comes in and he's already got a set roster of guys he can either keep or not keep. And he's got things like, pen and paper and clips and video. When we started the one at Southeastern, I was like Irk Russell when he started Georgia Southern. He famously said all they had was a ball and a helmet. And that's all we had for the press conference. And we started that out, and we tried out like 400 guys the first fall, and kept about 20 of those guys. And then we went out and recruited 2 back-to-back classes. Before the January break, we could spend our scholarships from the 02 season. And then after 03 hit, we could spend the scholarships in the spring. So actually we recruited 50 guys. And the first group was mostly JUCO guys, and the last group was mostly high school guys. But they turned out to be a great group. We ended up 30th in the nation my second year there. We upset McNeese, who was the defending runner-up. And that was a pretty famous game at the time. But we had great guys. Martin Hankins was our quarterback. He's now an NFL official. We had the head coach at Kentucky State is Felton Huggins. He became an All-American receiver for us, and then played for the Buffalo Bills for a while. And now he's the head coach at Kentucky State. So we had a great group of guys, and I really enjoyed it. The Southeastern, it's a great place to live. It really is. Yeah.
Oh man, Coach. So how do you feel, because now you're heading into San Antonio, and yes, Texas loves football. San Antonio's been more like a basketball place, right? Well, hold on. You moved there. What do you think, Coach? Are they really a basketball town, or do you feel like there's going to be a lot of love for the football team there?
I was born here, and I'm 72, and so now after 70 years away, I'm coming back. And
okay.
But I always spent my summers here because my grandfather had a farm here, and this is where I learned to love football. When I was like 9, 10 years old, my mom and dad would take me to watch Brackenridge or Thomas Jefferson or one of those high schools in Old Alamo Stadium. And I just fell in love with the whole process and knew I wanted to be around it. It pretty much set my course at a very young age. So I love San Antonio. I've always come back here. We really love, staying at the Minger Hotel next to the Alamo and touring all that stuff, and hitting the Minger Bar where Teddy Roosevelt recruited the Rough Riders. And so it's got a lot of history everywhere you turn here. So we're going to enjoy it. And hopefully we'll be the San Antonio summer team that lasts, And they've had like a wave of invasions of teams that come through and last for about a year or two, and then they go away. So we'd like to be the one that hangs around. We're going to become a San Antonio business as well as a football team. We've got some of our players working in what we call Caballeros Academy. They're going to mentor middle school and high school players, teach them what they know, what they've learned. So those guys will get a chance to learn from pro athletes. We've got a program we're doing with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We got a lot of outreach that we're doing. I'm helping one of the guys who's running for mayor here in the deal right now. And so it's Robert Melvin's his name. And so if anybody's voting in San Antonio, vote for Robert. He's a great guy. He's a great Christian guy. I really like being around him. So we want to put down roots, and so we're playing at Incarnate Word, which has about 6,000 seats and just about right for our level. It'll look good on TV because we have good crowds out there. Tickets are going to be very cheap. You'll be able to bring your family, park in a safe location, go and not spend $1,000 trying to see a pro football game, and we're also doing outreach with all the service people in town, the Lackland Air Force Base from Fort Sam Houston, and all of our first responders too.
Coach, it seems like you all have a very, very great strategy on how to really connect with the community. So when it's time, because you're supporting them now, right? When it's time for you all to light it up and start playing some football, those people who you've made those connections with, I'm hoping that they fill up that stadium for you, Coach. It sounds like you have a great strategy in the way you're going about doing it. I love the fact that you talked about the Big Brother, the Little Brother, Big Brother program.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that. Who came up with that idea, and why was that so important to this vision that you have?
We have a great community relations person named Quincy Workman. I think you know Quincy.
Yes.
I told him I just want to do some outreach to people so we can get our, spread our message. And he came up with that when we had a great meeting with him, and we're going to make sure all those. I think they got about 300 in their program right now. So we'll make sure all those young people have, and their big brothers or big sisters have tickets.
Awesome. All right, Coach. Now, this is my last question. Well, probably got two more, but pretty much close to the last bit. There's in this league it's called the International Football Alliance, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a Football Without Borders type of vibe here. Talk to me about that reach into the international space and introducing the game there, and then pulling players from other spaces outside of the U.S.
Yeah, we want to have. Obviously, we've got a franchise in Mexico, and but that's not that's not really the international reach. We have a player on our roster from Scotland. We have a defensive back from Ivory Coast of Africa. We've got another special teams guru who's is from England. I know Ohio Valley signed a receiver from Japan in the X League over there. So we want to give every team's going to try to have at least 3 internationals on it. And we want to try to give those guys a chance to come play football in America and show everybody what they can do.
Are you scouting those leagues as well, Coach?
Yes.
There's a lot of leagues in China. There's football being played there.
Yeah.
I guess I just saw one of their championship games. I guess their player coaches from the New Orleans Saints. They have a good team out there. You say you are in those spaces watching those games.
We have a director of player personnel I mentioned a while ago, John Peterson, who has a vast background in the NFL and the CFL, and is really a great eye for talent. And so he spends a lot of his time just looking at those leagues.
Coach, you've been a part of the Spring League, and now being a part of this league. You mentioned international players. What helps leagues like yours, or leagues like this one, survive over the course of time? We've seen, and you've been involved, I think, in AAF as well. And I remember being a part of that, and that not truly, surviving all the way through.
You got to. I think the thing that we've done in this league and over the last 3 years is we've set it up with a sane routine in terms of finances.
Okay.
So we can run each franchise on about $1 million a year, and that's paying the players and housing them and everything, paying the coaches, everybody. But we haven't gone crazy on salaries, and I think that'll help. And then we've got really good television, as I mentioned before, and we get to keep most of the advertising money from that. So we just got to get the word out and get our advertising sold, and I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
I love it. All right. Last one, Coach. You've mentored hundreds of players over the time that you've been here, and you've been, a major part of their life. I heard players say, you're a great coach. Even on some of the videos that you've been featured in on YouTube, some of your former players will hop in those videos and say, "Hey, I played for him. He's a great coach." Coach, talk to me about, you for yourself going into this space. What are you hoping to pull from this experience? What are you hoping that all your players get from it? But for yourself, what are you hoping that you get accomplished at the end of the day here?
Well, I just like working with the guys and working with the staff, and I'll get a lot out of that. And I've got a great staff. They're all great people. They all, believe in God, and they are great Christians as well as great people. And I think I'll draw a lot from that. And then, just working with the players every day, and it's really not the O's and X's and the all that stuff's important, but what you really get out of it is that camaraderie you have with everybody. And that's what, any retired NFL player will tell you that, they want that. They miss that locker room, they miss their buddies, and it's such a difficult sport to play physically. And I think it's a little bit like military training in terms of the way guys have to train and then do combat. And it's it can be a really mean, nasty sport, And so I think guys draw a lot of that. They get a lot out of that. And that's why we're doing the outreach to the high school and junior high kids too. We want them to learn to play football too.
Coach, you mentioned a few times that this person's a good Christian, this person's a great Christian, and even Justin Stockton, your running back, he's a Christian as well. And he talks about it a lot. He has even a slogan, right? I do this for family. I do this for God and my family.
Right.
So that's one of his things. For yourself, Coach, are you also a believer? And then what role does that play for you in coaching and mentoring?
Yeah, I've had my journey started when I was about 17 years old, and I had a horrific knee injury. And when I was at Thomas Jefferson High School in Dallas, and got hit from the side and my cleats stayed in the ground, and my knee went to the right, and my body went to the left, and it was just a horrific injury. And I remember at that point I hadn't given my life to the Lord, but I remember laying on the ground and grabbing my knee, and there's just this voice in my head saying everything's going to be okay. And so as the weeks went by, I was very disappointed, very bitter, because I wasn't getting to play my senior year, And I was on the sidelines on crutches with another guy, Fred Clapp, who became one of my lifelong friends. And Fred was always happy. And I was always bitter. So finally, I just asked him one day, I said, how come you're always so happy? He goes, you need to come to Young Life with me, which was a Christian organization those days for high school kids. And so I went with him, and a few weeks later, I got on my knees and gave my life to the Lord. It's the best thing I ever did. And it all happened because he took football away from me for a while. And then, just like he always does, he gives it back to you after he's made his point, and a few weeks later, a month or two later, I got a nomination to the Naval Academy, and ended up at New Mexico Military Institute. Got recruited on a little bit by Roger Staubach, who at the time was a great hero for the Cowboys, but he had played at NEMI also. So, and then gone on to the academy. I went to NEMI and decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just be a football coach. So I just stayed there for a couple of years and transferred out. But all that happened like in a very condensed period of time in my life when I was a senior in high school. And it's been, it was a lifelong journey. And I've never had a job that I thought I should get in this business. Young coaches ask me all the time, how'd you go from Division II to the SEC? I said, guys, just bloom where you're planted and let God open the doors, because I never got a job I thought I should get. And I think God just puts opportunities in front of you, and we're thankful for this one we have right now.
Wow. Coach, you said you were recruited by Roger Staubach?
The Naval Academy was recruiting me, but he was playing. They had him go around Dallas and talk to the guys that they were trying to recruit from Dallas. So, yeah, we went to dinner with him, my parents, and about 3 other guys they were recruiting. It was fun.
Wow. I once we get out of here, I really didn't know how he was as a person.
Oh, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Oh, cool.
I actually worked some FCA camps with him while I was in college. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. All right, Coach. Thank you so much. Coach, your story, your story, your Christian journey. That's a new one for me, right?
Yeah.
Just the way that
just call me and they want to talk about air raid. So you asked the right questions, Rick. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you, Coach. This has been fun. This has been amazing. Thank you for sharing your story with me. When you said that you got injured in your junior year, you couldn't play a senior year, I felt that 100%.
Yeah.
I got injured in my junior year of football, but I was able to come back. But I thought about it for a moment. If I couldn't play a senior year, that would touch my soul, right?
For a young guy that age, it's pretty devastating.
Yeah,
spend all that time working,
Yes, sir. So when you say God pulled it from you, but He gave it back to you in such an amazing way, and you've been able to see so many young men live out their NFL dreams. Coach, for one, I just say thank you for this time, but also thank you for your service to football. And thank you for what you've done and how you've touched the game.
I appreciate you, Rick, and anytime I appreciate the being on.
Yes, sir. Any final words to the fans, Coach?
No, just come out to San Antonio and have a good time and come see a ball game. We got 2 games in June and 2 games in July. Check the schedule. We got San Antonio Caballeros. There's a website. You can go to it. Also, caballerosfootball.com. And we're on all the social media, so you can pull us up on any of those. And just type in my name or San Antonio Caballeros. You'll get a bunch of news.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, Rick. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals, and peace in knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.